How's your coffee? Tea? Milk tea, so delicious. When I drink milk tea, I forgot the suffering of the sentient beings. A very okay. Yeah, we can continue. Think carefully about the suffering of these animals. Absolutely, it is the truth. We need. Even we are used animals, also we need to think them. How long they to be alive, we don't know. When you take out hair, when you take out the milk, when you use it then very gentle, very kindly, very kind of the softly, it is very important, For example, a few years ago, it's like also, it's like so often it's happened. Like sometimes animals' diseases coming, and they without killing to put in the hole, and sometimes like put earth on it without dying, and sometimes they put fire on it, and like this is cruel. Of course, we are like kind of a little bit part of the cannibal, sorry to say, and torching, using animal, but maybe still to think to them, as long as we keep very gentle, very kindly, and like this. It's like when I was in the nomad, some nomads, they want to make the meat, some yaks. Then they say it's like a few years they make free, and they didn't use any. That means they think of course they're going to kill. But of course until there they give very good food, grass, water, and they can't live. Of course when they kill, they say suffering, they dedicate the virtues, doing like this. And then it's like animals is not free from under the control of the human beings, and that is like kind of the when we become the householder, it's very difficult, but to be very kind is very important. Imagine that you yourself become these situations, what you do are undergoing that sufferings. Which sort of do we have feeling, and we cannot to run, we cannot to fly, we cannot to debate. Whatever dishonors to use torch, and no choice. And in these situations, ourselves is to be under this going, how much we have feeling. See that it is like cover your mouth with your hand and stop yourself breathing. Just maybe it's like experience. And there's a Buddhist like kind of the path. There's a call that we are like making the distinctions between samsara and nirvanas. They experience all the suffering sentient beings. Sometimes they like kind of don't eat, don't drink. How they experience the hunger goes ralamas. Sometimes they beat and they kind of try to make like same as the hell. They try to how much it is the experience. Then they are developing the compassions. And same is here. You maybe your mouth to close your hand, to stop your breath while maybe 2-3 seconds. How much we have scaring and sufferings. Stay like that for a while. Experience the pain and the panic. Absolutely. And then these animals, how much pain, how much panic. When you have really seen what it is like, think again and again how sad it is that all those beings are afflicted by such terrible sufferings without a moment like kind of the respite. And respite is like kind of difficult to like postpone. They need a moment, they need to die, they need to kill, they need like kind of the doing. It only you had the power to give them refuge from all these sufferings. If only use it, if you imagine like kind of and like kind of you have this strength, if you can give to like freedom, what you do, had the power to give them refuge from all those sufferings. It is the wonderful, this kind of thinking. Then is the start next paragraphs, and normally it is the kind of shouting and criticize and to a little bit kind of the say bad things to the lamas and monks, Patrul Rinpoche. Of course, he can to criticize because himself is fantastic, doing everything according to the Dharma. He says the lamas and monks are the people who are the support to have the most compassions, supposed. They think lamas, monks has surely they have compassion. And also we normally think Buddhist people, whoever follow studying the Buddha's teaching, we suppose they have the most compassion, but not truth. Sometimes the follower of the Buddha or the practitioner of the Buddhist Dharma, very much more aggressive, more cruel, more rough, more nasty to the others. What happened? Not only lamas and monks, any kind of Dharma practitioner, sometimes this kind of happens. But of course here is more specifically telling to the lamas and monks. But they have no at all compassions. They are worse than the householders, like lay persons. They are not much thinking of the suffering of the sentient beings, how it can come like these kind of. When it's come to the making beings suffer, this is the sign that the era of the Buddhist teaching really approaching, it is the end. Absolutely, this sort of, like kind of Buddha's teachings, a life is the 5,000, can appear in this world, afterwards disappeared. Look, we can in this world, many Buddhist countries now completely disappeared. They are like kind of occupied the different religious, different traditions. And like this, like Guru Rinpoche say, it's like all the goods, good behaviors, good systems disappeared, same as in the morning star. Negative and like kind of the strange behaviors, systems appearing very easily, same as the evening start. Like this is the truth. Maybe these days we call the, maybe Islamas, maybe monks, but maybe also we call the Buddhist practitioners very much hypocriticals. They study, but they won't become famous. They won't become the teachers. They want to kind of make business with Dharma. If they cannot make business with Dharma, they don't want. They can criticize. Even they can criticize Buddha and of course teachings. And then it's slowly they criticize, they're making the disappearing. That is the end of the Dharma teachings. Very sad. We have reached the time when flesh-eating demons and ogres is the ghost, are the giving all the ownership. It's happened already right now. Maybe like a powerful persons, cruel, no compassionate, dictatorships are become the leaders, head of the monastery, head of the countries, head of the families. More take the powers. And those are like kind of, really like kind of the we are honor ogres and the demons. They want to kill the families. They make torture families. And if they are get the happy, they want power, they do what they ever want. Like this. And we say, this is our leader, this is our head of Lama, this is our head of monk. But reality, there's no compassion. In the past, our teacher, Shakyamuni, Buddha, our founder of our path, liberation, rejected the kingdom of the universal monarch as though it were so much spit in the dust. Spit in the dust. He is like kind of the kingdom. Universal monarch is nothing kind of the importance. He chose to develop the compassions, wanted to help the sentient beings. He gave up everything in the modern, like kind of the danger, pleasures, these things. And became renunciated to the samsaric sufferings and those kind of the like meaningless, worldly concerning kingdoms. With his arhat followers, he went on foot. They never riding horse, yak, cows, donkeys. They all the times by feet. Even they never wearing the shoes. Why? Because like kind of the taking care for the insect, begging for the alms, like kind of they never collect the food things. Just they need food, they kiss kind of small food to begging, and then it's developing the compassions. Bowl and staff. They have only the begging bowl and the staff, the monk's staff in the hand. That has a lot of mini stuff. They make a sound in order to take out the insect when you go on the path. And also itself many representative of this monk's staff. It is not staff of the policies. This is a monks. We call that like kind of castle. And not only did they do without pack horse, never, and mules. They haven't got any horse, mules, yak, donkey, pig, nothing. Only kind of the traveling wherever they go to by feet. He felt that to make another beings suffer was not the way of the Buddha's teachings. This is not kind of his own teachings if riding using animals. That is not kind of the way make the sufferings to the sentient beings. Would be Buddha really not have been resourceful being enough? Maybe is we think maybe Buddha is resourceful. Maybe it hasn't got methods. He's become poor. He haven't got horse, rather anything. Not. He has such honor of these kingdoms. But he think he doesn't want to make suffering for the sentient beings. Enough to find himself in old horse, of course, to ride. That's no worried, but he doesn't do it. He didn't. Our own venerables, however, as they set out for a village ceremony, put a piece of raw twine through the ring hole, gouge into their yak's muzzles, and like kind of the piece of raw twine very much like kind of the strong hard rope made by yak hair, put in the yak's muzzle on the nose hole. They need to ride in order to go to the village ceremonies. Once they are hoisted into the saddle, they pull with both hands as hard as they can on the yak hair cord. Of course, there's both sides, like sometimes ropes, and like kind of the training right and the rounds. Why they are put like kind of the very rough, strong, like thorn, they put in the ring hole in the nose, because they like kind of the using this, maybe yak's pain, they run more fast. They holding the both hand, they can only the yak hair words. Each digs into the animal's nostrils, and they put in the nose and try to using these yaks, causing unbearable pain and making the poor creature rear and plunges. They this kind of the creatures, such a kind of the pain, unbearable sufferings. So the rider, with all his strength, whack it with his whip. Each moment, whack on the back button of the yaks or the horse, the whip. Unable to stand this new pain on the flank, the yak start to run, but is pulled up again by the nose. Yak run, he pull up again the nose, yak need to stop. Yak stop and he's whack, like kind of his with sweep. Pain its nose is now so unbearable that is the stopped. It is a track and has to be whap again, whip again and again, whack again, bang, and clock in front, whack behind, until soon the animal is chain and exhaustus. A chain and exhaustus, absolutely. Sweat drops from every single hairs. Sweat. And the tongue is very long times hanging out. Its breath rasp, and it can no longer go on because completely exhausted. What is the matter with him? And this rather still like kind of not thinking about sufferings. He's still not moving properly. The rather thinks and getting angry. Oh, this doesn't go. Digs the beast the flank with his whip handle until his rage. He dig into the so hard that the handle breaks in a true sight. And both is like he put into in the belt. He stuffed the piece in his belt, pick up the sharp stone from the ground, and turning round in the saddle to back, and then he's going to beat in the yak bottom. Slammed it down hard onto the old yak's thumb in the back. All because they feel not he slaps the compassion for these animals. Those lamas, monks, terrible. And he say like, of course, this kind of many riders doing. Imagine yourself as the old yak, your back withered, down with a load far too heavy, a rope pulling you by the nostril. Your flanks whipped, your rib brushed by the stirrup, like kind of the between your strip. There is such iron kind of the holder and the feet, and the front, behind, and on the both sides. You feel only burning pain without the second rest. You need to go continuously. You go up long sloped, up, down step, descent. You cross wide river and broad plant with no chance to slow. Even a mouthful of the food you can't get. But rather never think this is really is happen like this. Where is your compassion? You are the driven in the, against your will from the early dawn until late in the evening, when the last garments of the setting sun have disappeared, and you can be reflecting on how difficult and exhausting it would be. If you imagine if you be yourself like this, how much you have suffering, how much you think in these situations. That pain, hunger, and thirsty you would experience, and then take that suffering, open yourself, meditate on the compassion. You cannot but feel intense and unbearable compassion. Maybe you would like to cry if you understand these situations. Then easily you can develop the compassions. Normally, those we call the lamas and monks out to be a refuge and the help, impartial protectors and guiders to all the sentient beings. Of course, we say, but in the fact, they favor the patterns, like those animals. They forgot it. Then where is the patterns? You making the suffering your patterns such. Then what you are talking about, I'm going to help those my patterns. Where is your patterns? There's ones who give them food and drink and make offering to them. They pray that this particularly individual may be sheltered and protected. Of course, you have such partialities. Those benefactors giving you food, drink, such things, you are making patterns to them, protect to them, shelter them. But you using animals, you completely forget it. Suffering as sentient beings forgot it. They give them empowerment and blessings. Empowerment and blessings. And all the while they are ganging up to cast out all the pretas and mischiefs spirit who is evil rebirth. It is the result of their unfortunate karmas. Of course, benefactors, you are making puja because they may sick, they may enhanced by some spirits. And then you holding your benefactor your side. You're holding those unfortunate karmic spirit piritas at the outside. You make the separation and you have compassion, your benefactors, whoever give you something, but you haven't got any compassion, those an unfortunate spirits. The lamas performing such ceremonies work themselves up into the furies, the terrifying mandalas making the pujas, beating gestures, stoning, kill and kill, strike and strike during the pujas. They are make terrified those spirits. You cannot make problems to my sponsors. If you disturb my sponsors, I will kill you. Generally, monks, lamas, they are practice compassion impartially. But in this perspective, you have such partialities. You're holding dear to your benefactors and killing to those unfortunate spirits. Say kill, strike. Now surely, if anyone takes harmful spirit as something to be killed or beaten. It must be because his mind is under the power of the attachment and hatred, and has never give rising to vast, impartial compassion. And if someone is like kind of the doing, and this kind of pujas, making the terrified to those unfortunate spirits, and that is like kind of, maybe they never developed the compassions, and according to their like kind of attachment, hatred, they never kind of give a rising to the vast compassions, impartial compassions. Then they have this kind of impartiality compassion, and also it's like kind of no compassion on those spirit. When you think about it carefully, between your benefactor or who you make in ceremonies, and also maybe this like kind of the giver negative things, hindrance, sickness, those unfortunate spirit, you very carefully to think. Those malignant spirits are far more in need of the compassion than any benefactors. Why? There's such reasons. They have become harmful spirit because of their evil karmas in the past. And they are like kind of cannot control. They coding their own coding the karmas, they reborn this kind of malignant spirit. Such negative karma result, they become like this. Maybe they don't want, they would not be like this, but no choice. Reborn as the pretas, day and night they want to disturbing to the other sentient beings with a horrible body, ugly and terrified. But what they can do, the pain and fear is unimaginable. They experience nothing but endless hunger, thirsty, and exhaustions. Of course, we need to practice compassion on them. Endless kind of the hunger and thirsty and exhausted. They perceive everything as threats, like kind of all the appearances is like kind of the animals. And something in my nose is wrong. Oh, okay. They experience endless of the hunger and thirsty exhaustions. We should to have compassion on it. Therefore, we need very carefully to think. They perceive everything is the threatening. As the mind are full of the hatred and aggressions, naturally, because according to their negative deeds. Many go to the hell when they die, soon as they die, who could deserve more pity. We need to think to them. And their patterns may be sick and sufferings. like kind of the benefactors, but they will help them to exhaust their evil karma. Like someone is like kind of our human beings, maybe sick, maybe suffering, maybe some problems. That reality is like kind of the purification of their own individual karmas. And those soft sentient beings, we need to help to purify their own karma. And like kind of the benefactors, they not create more bad karma. Maybe they sick, they pain, but they more and more purified in the negative karmic in the past. But those spirits, they caught in their previous negatives, reborn in harmful spirit, their day and night hatred and aggressions, they make more and like kind of negative. They're going to die and have reborn hells. Therefore, this between is different. Those evil spirits, on the other hand, they're harming others with their evil intention and will be hard by them harmful actions to the depth of the lower animals next time they reborn. Of the conqueror, Bodhicitta munis, skilled in means that full of the compassion toward the art of the exorcist. This one is how to say.
Exorcise.
And the exorcising. And exorcise is the verb that drive out, attempt to drive out. And like kind of the helping this kind of, some is like conqueror's skilled means, some there are doing things very much kind of the compassion way, intimidating this harmful spirit with violent methods. Sometimes the wrathful deities, wrathful pujas, and the conquerors told to us, but this is like kind of compassion activities. It was out of the compassion for them. It was out of the compassion for them. Like a mother spanking at the child who will not obey hers. Sometimes children, they don't listen to the parents. Parents love their children very much, but sometimes a little bit kind of the beating to them. But of course, they are like kind of correcting, helping to them. This sort of, like of course, it's like without compassion, without like thinking, like some parents awful way beating, not good. But sometimes needed children. This sort of the conquerors give. Here also is like permitted the ritual of the liberation to be the practiced by those who have the power to interrupt, follow of the evil deeds of the beings who only do harm. Like continually harming, continually doing the negative actions, and you are interrupted them, you are helping like this to like kind of the transference consciousness into the some Buddha field and helping to put into the liberation path and transform their consciousness to a pure elements, but as far pandering to the benefactors, monks, and others that we consider to be on our own side. But like kind of the Buddha's teachings is not like this, but monks, lamas, it's different doing. They're like benefactors, they're holding their own side and reject the demons and wrongdoing as harmful enemies. Other side, protecting the one and attaching the other out of the attachment and hatred. Where such attitude, what the conquerors taught, it's not taught, there's the question mark. As long as we are driven by the such feelings of the attachment and hatred, it would be food to try to expel or attract any harmful spirit. Their bodies are only mental and they will not obey us. They will only do us harm and return. Indeed, not to speaking of the desire and hatred. As long as we evil believe that such ghost and spirit really exist and want them to go away, we will never subdue them. And this kind of the situations, you need a compassion, more those evil, malevolent spirit. If you have give compassion to them, liberate to them, they will automatically go away. There's the example. When the Jetsen Malaripa was living in the Garuda forest cave, Chonglong Chong Guzongse, in the Chong Valley, the king of obstacle makers, there's the one is like spirit, Jaru, Vinayaka, produced the spiritual illusions. In his supernatural illusion, supernatural illusions, supernatural illusion. In his cave, Jetsenmela found 5 atsaras. Atsaras, long nose, big kind of the eyes, hairy persons. With eyes, there's like kind of the size of the swords. It's like kind of the it's how do you say this? Like a bow balls, very big, and saucer is like kind of the bow, big. He prayed to his teacher and to his yidam, but the demons did not go away. He meditated on the visualization of his deity and recited wrathful mantras, but still they wouldn't not go. Then what is the finally Jetsen Malaripa? He thought Marwa, his root teacher, Lotsawa, assured that everything in the universal is mindset. That is like kind of the spatial pit instruction called in the Mahamudra. Like in the says samsara nirvana is not different than your mind is. Samsara nirvana is your mind is like projected. Like this, universal is the mind. And that the nature of the mind is empty and radiant. To believe in the demons and obstacles makes like that. Then it's also demons, ogres, obstacles. Make art that maybe is also the expression of our own mind. Something external and to want them to go away has no meaning. Feeling powerful confidence himself, that feeling, in the view that now spirit and demons to be simply one's own perceptions. There's nothing kind of the existence. He has these realizations. He stood back into his cave, very powerful, he said, terrified and rolling their eyes, running around. The Atharas disappeared. This is also what the ogres, Tosamos, the ghost of the rock, meant when she sang to the Jetson Malari. Of course, Jetson Malari said, go away. She said, if you say go away, I don't want to go. She sang like this. This demon of your own tendencies arise from your mind, If you don't recognize the nature of your mind, I'm not going to leave just because you tell me to go. Absolutely. If you don't realize that your mind is void, emptiness, there are many more demons beside myself. Because 84,000 like a demon, the thoughts is become the demons. If you understand their emptiness, those demons, they're no existence. But if you recognize the nature of your own mind, adverse circumstances will serve only to sustain you, help. Is like kind of your own deities. We become the servers to use. And even ogres, like rock, ghost of the rock, will be at your bidings, like your this like retinues, help to you. How then, instead of having confidence in the view that recognize all spirit and demons as the being, one's own mind could be subjugated them by the getting angry. Like through this subjugated, instead to angry, to say kill, strike. Like kind of the put into your compassions and to make like kind of the liberation to them. Then it's the fantastic. There's nothing kind of the externally demon obstacles. Inner our hatred, attachment, disturbing emotions appearing outside. Appearing about the kind of the demons. When Celeric visited the patterns, they apply it all the and Celeric visited the patterns. They happily eat all the sheep that have been killed and served to them without the least hesitations. Sometimes even the Buddhist country like this is to me sometimes truly. Someone's killed animals serves to you. And then it's like you are say very happily eating this sheep, yak, horse, fish, chicken, birds. But there is nothing kind of the hesitations. When they are perform a special rituals to make offering to the protectors, Maybe do they need pure meat? They claim that clean meat is needed as an ingredient in the substance for the mandalas. For them, this means the still bleeding flesh and fat of freshly killed animals. Maybe they needed sausage, fat, meat, blood, with which they are decorated all the tormas and other offerings. Such fearful methods of intimidation can only be Bumbu or the Tertikas ties. In Tibet, we have the Bumbu, it's the shamanism. These Bumbus, when they do, I think these days we have only the white Bumbu. White Bumbu is similar to Buddhist. Maybe they don't do it. But black Bumbu, ancient Bumbu, we have still there. They also still sacrificed like kind of the offering to the god, like animals. Flesh meat, fat meat, and blood put in the torma. And of course, this white Bumbu, black Bumbu transformed into the Buddhist during the Trosung Dechen and Guru Rinpoche's. Like this. Maybe some third takers write like kind of the sadhanat, pujas. They are certainly not Buddhists. If you do like this, certainly it is not count Buddhist mandalas, tormas. Maybe it is the Bumbu or it is the Tertikas. In Buddhism, once we have taken refuge in the Dharma, we have no give up. And we're taking refuge in the Dharma, we have to give up harming other. How would have he on the animal killed? And everywhere we go, it's impossible. And joy for flesh and blood, not a contravention of the precepts of the taking refuges. This is like kind of the against of the taking refuges precepts, and absolutely against the refugees. And more like kind of the particularly in the Bodhisattva's tradition of the great vehicle, we are supposed to be the refuge and protector of all the infinite beings. But for this very begins with unfortunate karma that we are the supposed to be protecting, we feel not the slightest shade of the compassion. Instead, those beings under our protection and murdered, they boiled flesh and blood set before us, and they are protectors, we Bodhisattvas, that gleefully gobble it all up, smacking our lip. Could anything be more vicious and cruel? Awful. This is not really Bodhisattva's way. The text of, okay, maybe we can to stop there.